If you consider yourself not fitting in, if you consider yourself not belonging, and maybe even if you've struggled for some part of your life with that feeling, I wanted to congratulate you. You have not complied to what is a abnormal way of living. I'm going to dive right in, but this subject is so dear to me. These words are something I would crave to hear when I was much younger. That's why I'm recording this video. Especially today, when things as we know them are breaking down, more emotions escalate. There is even more polarity, and we don't know how to find a place for ourselves. But this is exactly why I'm congratulating you for not having achieved to fit in the society, the norms, the ways of behaving and leading your life that have been accepted and prevailing for the most people. As we grow up, we get to hear all the ways how we are faulty. Even in our close families, even in our schools, and like the places that we should feel like we are fully accepted as we are, we might have heard things like, you're too sensitive, actually. You should get thicker skin. You should not pursue those hobbies. Maybe doing art is not really a good career kind of prognosis. Maybe you're too fat. Maybe you don't look as, we would want you to look. So it's always kind of those external sources of feedback that tell you about your value, about your worth. And many people who don't fit in or have not fitted in, as myself, have always been with one foot in trying to make a different life for themselves. On one hand, trying to belong in what has prevailed, and on the other hand, knowing that there is a different way of living that would be more aligned to their level of sensitivity. I gotta tell you, I have always been quite a sensitive person since I was born, and I was really born an artist. But as you can imagine, the world has had its own way of functioning that accepted certain ways of being as more important, more wanted, more desired, more valuable, segregating people into those valuable or worthy of hanging out with or accepting them in certain groups, and those misfits, as we are. And those misfits have been created through a sort of societal rejection, because they have not fully embraced the prevailing way of living, the prevailing norms, the prevailing way of fitting in the economy, or accepting certain ideas of politics, or just generally ideology or religion. There have been some things that never let them fit in the accepted, desired, and more valued groups or, kind of labels. So because for so long you have heard all those stories about how you're not perfectly matching those valuable kinds of people that are just following the norms, they just do it as they are told, they have a certain They fit into the certain expectations that in the past were told that assure belonging. You started telling yourself that you are not worthy enough, that because you don't fit in, there's something wrong with you. People told you you're skinny, you're too sensitive, you're this, you're that, you're broken, you have too much emotions, you are too artistic, but you should be more logical. You know, all those ways of telling you, kind of invalidating your existence. You've kind of integrated this into your own mind. And the problem is, you rejected yourself. I rejected myself in the past, and this rejection is because we are not allowed to be fully authentic, because authenticity is not accepted. Our very being, the whole core of you, is completely rejected and invalidated. That makes a person lost, and sometimes lost forever, if they're not able to see and integrate the pieces of themselves that were rejected. And what happens is people actually get sick physically. I get sick myself physically. I worked with a lot of women in my mind-body coaching. All of them, they found themselves be sick because they kind of wanted to fit in some standards, some norms. They were trying to squish their being, their soul, into a homogenized idea that society have designed for us, and therefore reject all the beautiful bits and pieces of your innate self that you carry. And you invalidated those bits and pieces that are sensitive, that are artistic, that are imperfect in some way of standards. You know, maybe you had a certain shape of body, maybe your way of thinking was different, maybe it was not as logical, but you had a different way of perceiving things that people didn't get. Like myself, I see things from a completely different perspective, and people often didn't get what I was saying. And I thought there was a mismatch in communication, and I felt not belonging, because my way of seeing things have been more visionary, actually. I was able to see things beyond the circumstances, and my mind has been seeing things from kind of a top level. So all people, neurodivergent, all people with different way of their brain functioning, maybe they have ADHD, maybe they've developed different ways of perceiving, understanding the world, maybe their level of sensitivity made them absorb reality and express themselves in a way that is not fitting in that unified, the standardized way. They were rejected, and if you're watching this video, maybe that resonates with you. I wonder how you're not fitting in the traits. How, like, what would you describe them as? I'm always curious to hear that. But anyway, people that have worked with me, all of them, they had some quirks that I really see them as beautiful. But the norms and standards, they're ruthless. They have no compassion to difference, they have no compassion to absorb diversity of different people, bringing in and collaborating through their different ways of being. All of the, the standard, the norms are caring about is to squish you into a certain box so that you are easy to handle, and I spoke about this in one of their latest videos, so that you fit in, that you are predictable, meaning, well, you are easy to manipulate. You are easy to rule. You are easy to told what to do. You obey because you fitted very well to those norms, you see. And that's why I started this video by congratulating you. There was something in you that maybe even made you suffer for the whole of your life because you've not accepted this. But that little spark in you that told you not to fully agree, not to fully comply with the norms, at the same time of making you miserable, maybe even sick. Once you integrate this now in your life, once you start accepting all those pieces that were stomped upon, that were told to be bad or faulty, now you can start embracing them slowly in your life with relief. Because what these times are doing, they're actually validating your way of not fitting. Because of all the social norms, the way of going about doing things are now revealed to be completely messed up. I'm so excited about this. I gotta tell you, now and again I meet some people, and especially when these are young people, they might be still struggling with those subjects, and their anxiety levels are actually growing higher with the level of polarity we're seeing right now. But there's also a number of older people who have lived their life following certain paradigm of, going to school, following this, following that. I talk about it in another video. You can go into full length of these explanations. But people during the pandemic started noticing, oh my God, now I'm seeing, when I have this space, when I'm like closed in, my apartment for, the whole day in, day out, weeks and months, they started having this space for self-reflection and assessing their life's choices that had been very automatic. They have been ascribed to them by society norms. And people who have been waking up during the pandemic, as hard as it has been, because disillusionment, it can be very traumatic. It was traumatic for me to learn certain things this year. And I actually suffered PTSD because of the level of disillusionment I had. I've healed it already. You are able to heal your mental problems. These are actually mind-body problems. When you assimilate those broken, those left behind pieces of you, and slowly you forgive yourself for the choices you've made in the past, and look at the future and question, do I want to keep doing these things in the same old way? How has that worked for me up until now? Do I want to look out at the same view from my windows for the rest of my life? Or is there something else for me? And all those of you who have not fitted in completely, I know how hard it has been. First, I rebelled against these things. Then I kind of did try to fit in. Then I burnt out and became really, really sick from trying to fit in. Then I have woken up from this. And there have been stages in which I was able to see from higher and higher and higher and higher perspective my life, from kind of bird's eye view, into reflecting on my past and how was I being? How was I relating to myself? How was I relating to others? How was I relating to the environment at large, and the choices I have made for the way I was making money, getting resources, being around people. And the fact that misfits, I call them misfits, but actually in the very loving way. I hope you get it by now, because I consider myself the same. I'm actually proud of this. I'm proud of all people who never fully complied, because if you had fitted in, you would actually have a way longer way of navigating, like way harder way of navigating these times right now, because you would have had to go from everything that is collapsing right now, that has become part of you, into create, like getting in touch in the real you. But all those misfits, like myself and like perhaps you, that have not fully complied, means they kept this connection with themselves up, as in kind of small fire that kept burning up, and saying, that's not for you, that's not entirely for you. But the mind was telling them it's not right, that they're not fitting in, because they've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed. But that small fire was the fire of their intuition, telling us, I keep correcting myself, telling us that there is a deeper truth that we're meant to follow. There is a deeper truth in our authenticity, and that we get to connect with it and reconcile those lost pieces. Those pieces that we rejected as not valid, those pieces that we were told are not good enough, And there are ways of doing this, and I speak hopefully enough about this in my channel, and I will be talking more about that. But in this video, I really wanted to give you a perspective on your not fitting in that is actually a gift. You are a rebel. Let's put it this way. You are a rebel. And there was something in you that disagreed with those insane norms that we were put in. We were born into norms and standards and certain lifestyle that we were meant to follow. But something in you knew, a piece of you knew that this is not right. This is not the truth. This is not you. It's not genuine and it's not authentic. And that's why, like myself, you probably had one fit in trying to belong, which is really our survival need from the old times. But we are a different kind of people altogether at this point. Yes, we can belong, but we can belong into broader group of people on our terms. This year, I gotta tell you, I've been experimenting with my authenticity like never before in my life. I felt that if I don't follow my authenticity, I would have to die. I felt like my life was fleeting out of me at some point. And I felt, if I don't let things fall away, they will drag me down. And when I speak about things falling away, yes, these are circumstances, people that were dear to me, things, situations, my business, my place of living. Everything has changed in my life because I had to follow this little whisper that told me what to do, or at least what didn't belong in me. And when I talk about those circumstances that had to fall away, I'm really speaking about me being. So actually I had to let go. It's not so much these things out of my life. I had to let go my ways of being, that person that had these things in her life, if you know what I mean. I had to let go of various aspects of my identity to allow me to see what is really true. And it's not been easy. I'm not saying it will be easy for you either. And it's a journey. I'm still being tested so much. My circumstances today are far from perfect. So don't expect your circumstances to start magically turning into beautiful, because it's a journey. But when you get closer to that whisper that rebelled against all these things that it told you that you were not supposed to fit in, yet you were miserable for not fitting in. So you get closer and closer to hearing those whispers, and they actually speak to you more loudly. You become one with this intuition. You become one with this higher self of authenticity that is in you when you allow yourself to follow that path. I hope I'm making myself clear. But when you start following that whisper in your mind and accepting those pieces of you that have been unwanted by yourself and by others, you will reclaim your life. You will reclaim your source energy. You are reclaiming your potentiality. And even though you will be tested, at the same time, you will start seeing opening up in front of you as well. Even though I have a lot of different testing times in these days still, and a lot of uncertainty, there is a solid core in me that has developed after listening to this whisper that has become louder and louder. When you become one with following your intuition, you become so certain. You develop a certain level of knowing that can carry you through those testing times. So you see, it's kind of, you throw yourself into those adventures, let's call them this way, but also you get tools. Your commitment to this path becomes a resilience, becomes a strength that fuels you into keeping on walking on that path of bravery and courage that is not fitting in, that is creating your own world on your own terms. And you can do it, because I know I'm seeing things so much clearer right now, and I'm so excited to be sharing this with you, because I know it would have helped me. So even if there is one person that will get value from this video, I'm glad you're hearing this message. Yes, so follow those whispers. Keep accepting those lost pieces of yourself. Even if you don't know how, forgive yourself all the time. As long as you're true to yourself. Please share anything you have to comment in relation to what I'm speaking about. I'm really curious to hear if people resonate with this message. And I hope you had a lot of value from this and that made you think about yourself in a little bit more gentle way. I'll see you in my next video.